Hello beautiful people. Before I get into today's video, I just want to mention that Mother's Day 2018 is coming up this Sunday. I don't know when you're watching this, but if you're watching it before then it's coming up, and I wanted to let you know that because moms have the most important and most difficult job that there is out there. So if you're a mom, I would like to say personally, thank you so much for everything you do. And if you have a mom, make sure you wish her happy Mother's Day. You know, hand draw her like a little card with like lots of hearts and I love yous and stuff. She's gonna like that. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're like 50, moms still like that stuff. So get to work, okay? So if you've been following along with this channel, then you'll know that I am making a short series. There's a story in my head. I'm gonna get it out. I'm probably crazy because this is an insane amount of work, but that's what I'm doing. So far we've talked about storytelling, character design. I got a little bit into the software I'm going to be using, which is Adobe Character Animator and Adobe Animator. I'm also using like Premiere and After Effects and maybe some Pencil 2D, just everything I can get my hands on. So in this video what I wanted to do was test out a couple of things. First, we did a character design, which was just a base, like what do characters look like in this show. And I want to take that and try to turn it into a personality. It's someone that, you know, a lot of people would recognize. So I chose PewDiePie again. I mean, it's kind of a theme I've got going on right now. It's, you know, not like I'm trying to just, you know, grab for attention or anything like that. It just happened to be who I picked. And what I want to do is just refamiliarize myself with Adobe Animate. It's been a while. I worked in Flash for a long time, but I wanted to get used to the tools in Adobe Animate and just see like how does the bone tool work and what's it like to draw in there, what's it like to animate in there, and that's what I did. I created this short animation using the custom PewDiePie character. So I recorded that whole process, I sped it up, and I'm just gonna talk over it and say a bunch of stuff. And you get to come with me. It's gonna be great. Yeah, so here we go. So the first thing I wanted to do was redraw this character in Adobe Animator using vector. A lot of the bone tools rely on vector lines in order to work. It's actually manipulating the tangents of the vector line. So if you're not familiar with tangents, this is one of those math things, right? So we draw a bunch of points in space, and those points are then connected by lines. And each one of those points is referred to as a tangent. And a tangent can even have a handle that lets you determine sort of what the in and out vectors of that tangent are. So for my first pass, I went ahead and just tried redrawing this character entirely inside of Adobe Animator. I am splitting these things up into layers. The eyelids have a layer, the eyes have a layer. There's something about drawing in Adobe Animator and even drawing back in Flash that I really liked. It just ends up really clean. It almost makes drawing easier in a way, as long as what you're trying to get is this smooth looking thing. So you'll notice that I'm splitting these layers up. Here we have the body layer. And I drew the Adidas symbol more like an Illuminati eye. Just kind of as a joke. And the reason I want to split these layers up is I'm going to move this thing around like a puppet. So I want to have everything broken up into separate objects, and then I'll edit the pivot points so that I can animate those objects. And it's so easy, just pop in your fills. I might actually end up using Adobe Illustrator to remake the characters for the short, just because I like this vector look and it scales up easily. I decided to go ahead and change the outfit to the kimono that PewDiePie wore when he proposed to Marzia. I thought this could be kind of a funny homage to how, you know, he lost his beard, just kind of a joke. And then just a little statement on the proposal, like, you know, maybe this is how he proposed. He pulled this ring from his beard and the beard disappeared. I just made a rhyme. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to watch the intro to this channel. It's like a synopsis of my life story and how I got to where I am and what it is I'm trying to do right now. A big part of my motivation for doing this is finding an outlet to communicate with all of you. So I think it's important that every once in a while I just share a little bit about who I am and the kind of things I'm thinking about. So I'm interjecting here into this video because I got this I get a lot of cool comments on these videos, but I got one the other day that was from a younger person who wants to animate and was just saying, you know, thanks for making these videos. I really appreciate the information because I'm trying to animate, but I don't feel like confident that I'm going to be able to be a professional. And this person was just looking for some tips on how to break in to the industry. Like, what should you do if your plan is to be an animator or a technical animator? And really for me it boiled down to this. If you want to be good at a thing, just do that thing. Do it all the time. Do it every day. And I know it can be hard. You know, there's games you want to play or a show you want to watch, or you want to go hang out with your friends. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things, because listen, I mean, life is short. You got to live your life, and all those things are really important. But take a little time every day, you know, carry around a sketchbook. Draw things you see, you know, draw people and turn them into characters. Get your work out there so that people can see it and critique it. Grow a thick skin, man, because when you start, you're not going to be that good, and that's okay. Don't get discouraged. I mean, when I started, I'm bad at. Just look at what I'm doing now. I'm not good at it. I'm not like a character designer or an illustrator or even an animator for that matter. But every day I'm sitting down here and I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to take you all with me. That's it. Just do it every day. Do something every day towards your goal. Spend some time at it and be smart about it. And you're going to get better. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You are good enough. You are smart enough. You are creative enough. You are absolutely perfect, just as you are. Now the head was kind of a problem because the idea was that I was going to use these bone tools. However, I just couldn't seem to get like a smooth interpolation to the shape of the head using the bone tool alone. And there's a lot of things in there. You can actually map points on your shape so that Adobe Animator tries to keep that shape. But whenever you're using a shape tween, or even when you're using the bone tools, you tend to get these pinchy points when you're trying to push a custom shape like this to such an extreme. So I did end up going through and not frame by frame drawing. I did a shape tween with this this primary shape, and then I just went and cleaned it all up by editing those tangent points, those vectors that I talked about. Then I'm doing the same thing with all the rest of the parts, you know, the eyes, the ears, the nose. I am using motion tweens to push those around. But then I go ahead and later on I bake those down to keys so that I can just really tune everything to get it exactly where I want it for the final animation. Overall, this took about 6 hours to do this entire thing, from drawing all the way through animation, rendering, and popping it up on the internet. Here I'm just making little refinements, animating the shape of the mouth so that it gets wider. And I'll move in and animate the arms. And originally when I did this, I didn't cut the sleeve off into a separate object, so I did end up going in and doing that later. so that I could animate the sleeve as well, just because it looked weird with that arm just kind of floating around in this rigid sleeve. I don't know if you guys see this, but it looks to me like in my little camera, like my shirt is wigging out. I kind of hope it stays there. Just make some adjustments to the head position and shape. I'm using the onion skinning tool here to get everything lined up just right. And the onion skin will show you the previous and next frames, and you can set that to whatever range you like, so you can show multiple frames before or after. Add a little bit of eyebrow action into there, just to get that going on. I was trying to sync the body, but this became a little hard, and I didn't want to spend hours on this. I wasn't trying to make a perfect animation per se. This was more of just a get in, refamiliarize myself with Adobe Animator, and do some tests to see what was going to be possible. It ended up being better for me to break the beard up into multiple shapes, because what I'm trying to do here is make the beard disappear. And I don't want to do frame by frame hand-drawn animation, so I'm trying to cheat this just as much as I possibly can. This is one of those forethought things. I should have probably thought of this sooner, but I guess the idea, of what I was going to do sort of evolved as I was doing this test. Originally it was just going to be a test, but then I thought, well, this is sort of a funny idea and it can make a nice little animation. So I break the beard up, and that's going to let me manipulate the pieces individually and scale them down over a number of frames until I get to a certain point where I can then hand draw in some stuff. I added that pop as kind of like a, let's cover this up to hide the fact that I didn't do good animation. And here we draw the ring that he's going to pull out of the beard. Turns out I didn't like the pop. It just felt cheap and cheesy, and I don't know, I guess if I were to go back I might kind of combine the animation I did with the beard along with perhaps some sort of pop graphic. And there's always room for improvement. But again, I was just really trying to get a test done, not make a good animation, but it always hurts me in retrospect to sit and think about what I could have done given more time. I figured I'd throw in a little background, something that makes the yellow and everything pop. And when it was all done, I just exported those frames, pulled them into After Effects, added some cherry blossoms to the background, and a little track that I played on my shakuhachi flute, and you end up with this animation right here. So here's what I figured out after this process. I don't think I'm going to use Adobe Animate. It seems to me it's kind of like this separate entity from all the other Adobe tools. It just doesn't integrate the same way. And since I'm doing a lot of my artwork in Photoshop, it actually makes more sense, I think, to try and use After Effects for my animation. I'm pretty comfortable in there, and After Effects does have some pretty awesome animation tools. My characters are simple, but I'm going to try to do things like, dramatic lighting, compositing in perhaps like realistic backgrounds, and I just couldn't get the extremes I was looking for out of Adobe Animate without a lot of work. So we're going to try After Effects next, and hopefully we'll have some more success with that. Alright, thanks again for joining me, everybody. If you want to, go ahead and check out some of the links below. You can join me on Facebook, where I'm doing some drawing exercises, some storytelling stuff. We've got a Reddit group I'm trying to get off the ground. Follow me on Twitter for all the latest little updates and doodles and all that good stuff. And I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.